Goodness, we're on round 8 already. Where's the season gone? It's like we're already halfway through the season. Anyway, welcome to this very wet Malaysian Grand Prix here at the Sepang International Circuit, just outside of Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia. And we are 7 races through the season. We're now on the 8th race, and we have an Aerozone pole again, but they still haven't won a race. Will today be any different? Away they go! And it looks like Ralf Schumacher might keep hold of the lead. Coming into the first corner, Bertie looks to try to go alongside him. There's a Ferrari coming down the inside. Bertie looks to try to go through the inside of turn 1. He has. And he's cut Schumacher off at turn 2. Bertie leads the Malaysian Grand Prix for Jaguar. And Schumacher got a very poor exit off that turn 4. And that's Michael Schumacher in 3rd place. He's passed De La Rosa off the start. Got Button in 5th place in the Jordan. So very good qualifying for the Jordan after winning the previous race. Frenzen's in 7th place with behind Barrichello. Alonso is in 8th for Toyota, the highest placed Toyota this race at the moment. Panis is in 9th in the BAR, and there is the other Toyota in 10th place of Mika Salo. Lazy, the highest placed Renault in 11th, with the other Renault in 12th place at the moment. 13th place being occupied by David Coulthard in the McLaren. In 14th place, Pedro Diniz in the BAR. And there is the 15th placed Saldo at the moment, Kimi Raikkonen. Yolo Trulli far behind his teammate. And then we've got the Minardi of Young and Hakkinen in the McLaren, with Sato in the other Minardi, and Webber is currently occupying last position. Now, I shall point out, in the last race I did say that Hakkinen had not scored a point. Turns out he did score a point. He scored a point in Italy. Sorry, he's no longer pointless, but Hakkinen is still pointless. But Diniz is still pointless because he's still got 0 points. And we are going back on board with the leaders. We've been on board with the leaders for ages, but it is Bertie currently leading from Ralf Schumacher. Both these are pulling away from Michael Schumacher in 3rd place in the Ferrari, who is developing quite a train at the moment, with De La Rosa in 4th, occupying the 4th place for the Jaguar in front of the Jordan of Jenson Button, as De La Rosa takes quite a wide line going around turn 8 and 9 as they come down to the hairpin of turn 10. It's a very tricky braking point because you're going uphill round the curved bit. It's a double apex corner, a very long corner, treated as 2 corners really. And then we've got the fast chicane coming up, flat out in the dry but certainly not flat in the rain. And this is a tricky braking point going down towards a long long back straight. You need to get a very good exit off of that corner to carry as much speed at the bottom of the straight, and then into a very heavy braking point for the hairpin, the final corner, connecting both of these long straights. And out of that corner they go again. You need to get a very good exit to get back to the first corner at the fastest possible speed, which Barrichello did perfectly, but he's nowhere near Button, who are being dropped at the moment. There's Frenzen in 7th place. Quite a poor qualifying from the German, well behind his teammate of Ralf Schumacher, who is currently in 2nd in the championship to Howard Frenzen after the double podium that the Arrows got. And we go on board with Panis currently in 9th place. Salo had a little look down the inside, and there's nothing going there. Currently in 3rd place. No, it's currently lap 3, not 3rd place. And he's in 10th place at the moment is Salo. Going around the double right-hander. They're all pulling away from him at 11th place at the moment. 3 seconds around about is the gap to 11th. There is a lazy. The gap is nearly 3 seconds. It's 2.8 at the moment. Now, because this is a wet race, this race might last quite a while. So, hope you've strapped in for the race and brought plenty of hydration. Like my hydration right here that I am supplementing my throat with. But we're not here to talk about me, we are here to talk about the race. 14th place is currently Diniz in the BAR. He is poured away from Jarno Trulli, who seems to be in the middle of nowhere. Raikkonen is 2 seconds back, but he's 3.5 seconds. It looks like Raikkonen is also in the middle of nowhere. Nowhere near enough to challenge Trulli, but well clear of Hakkinen. He's even in the middle, even more in the middle of nowhere, because the Bernardis are just really slow. As Sato tries to have a go around the inside of Alex Young in his home Grand Prix. Alex Young, remember, the Malaysian. As Sato goes along the inside, going down towards turn 1, are we going to see an overtake for position? Sato takes it. He takes 18th place from Alex Young, whilst Webber is trundling behind him. We go on board with Hakkinen, who seems to be stuck in gear and is being caught very quickly by these guys. It looks like we've hit our first retirement of the race in the form of Mika Hakkinen, as Webber and Young both overtake the Finn, who is straggled in the racetrack and stuck in gear 1, it looks like. Go on board, back with the leaders. Luciano Berti, the Jaguar, leading the Malaysian Grand Prix by just under a second from Ralf Schumacher, our pole sitter, who is still not converted any of his poles into race wins. Neither of the Arrows actually have. The Arrows have had quite a few pole positions, and neither of them have managed to get a race win yet. They're both 1-2 in the championship, showing that consistency is key. As we go on board with Michael Schumacher in the Ferrari, the rest of the company directly behind, these two being dropped by the two leaders currently. Behind them is Rubens Barrichello, 5th place for the other Ferrari. I mean, that looks like, we go on board with Frentzen, is in 6th place. He's in 6th, so he's overtaken. No, there's Button in 8th place. Button appears to have had a problem. There is Button in 8th place. He was in 5th, so I have no idea what happened to Button in the Jordan, but he appears to have lost a position to Barrichello, Frentzen and Alonso. As we are on board with Panis and Salo, 9th and 10th place for the BAR and Toyota respectively, and they're all dropping the new 11th placed driver of Fisichella. Fisichella currently in 11th place. He's overtaken his Renault teammate. There he is, he's already 1.5 seconds in front of a lazy. Looks to be trying to catch up with Salo, but at the moment it looks pretty set as we go on board with the Jaguar of De La Rosa, trying to pass Michael Schumacher. As you saw a glimpse of Hakkinen going into the pits there, De La Rosa shows his nose to Michael Schumacher, shows him that he is there and he's ready to pounce at any time. But crucially, De La Rosa is nowhere near Michael Schumacher, as they are on lap 6 of 22 for the Malaysian Grand Prix. Turn 4 is a very hard corner, it's uphill, apex, and the car will always want to try and drift towards the left as you try to hit the apex. And the fast left-right chicane, now down towards the double corner, pretty much, there we are, but round the second corner, and then down towards the tightest corner of the circuit. So uphill braking, down to 70 kilometers an hour around the apex in fast acceleration, trying to get down the traction of the car, kicking in, and down towards the another fast left and right chicane. We're going board with Michael Schumacher as we go around these corners. Tricky braking. There's Ralf Schumacher. He's still a second behind Bertie. Which one of these drivers is going to blink first between Bertie and Ralf Schumacher? Surely if one of them pits before the other, it's going to give the other one an advantage. Down the pit straight they go. Bertie currently leading with Ralf Schumacher in second. There's Michael Schumacher and there's De La Rosa for third and fourth place. It's not that far behind, 1.5 seconds is the gap. There is Barrichello, 5th place in the Ferrari. They pretty much have dropped Frentzen, who's in 6th place, with Alonso and Button directly behind. Which one of these drivers are going to blink first to go into the pits? There's Button in 8th place for the Jordan, as he goes down towards turn 4. Up the weird corner Button goes, then round the fast left right chicane towards the double apex left right hander. There is Panis, 9th place in the BAR, 10th place is Mika Salo in the Toyota, and he's the last point scorer at the moment. And down towards the hairpin, very tight hairpin as we've alluded to, and again struggling to get the traction in the car. Bertie Jaguar leading still, and it looks like that Bertie is going to pit first. There he is, Bertie's in the pits. Ralf Schumacher comes in with him. So both the leaders and that looks like the third place man is also into the pits. So now it's a battle of the pit crew between Bertie and Ralf Schumacher. The pits at exactly the same time. Into the pit box they go. And change of all 4 tyres. They're right by each other in the pit lane. Bertie gets out. Ralf Schumacher is having to be held. There goes Ralf Schumacher, and out of the pits they go. There goes Ralf Schumacher releasing the pit limiter, and they rejoin. Oh, Schumacher! No, Schumacher's going to be behind Coulthard, but in front of Diniz. So Coulthard might hold Schumacher up for this lap, which is not going to please the German. Top 3 all pitting at exactly the same time. There's Alonso in 11th place. Tree still behind Alonso. He was already behind Alonso. Alonso was behind the Jordan. In front of the Jordan, no, sorry. There is Button. Button's lost quite a lot of time. Panis looks to be around the same, but Raikkonen's already behind all these lots. Webber has been released by Takuma Sato. There is Sato in pits, and away goes the Minardi, and he is now in last place currently, Takuma Sato. Round the first corner he goes. There's De La Rosa currently leading the Malaysian Grand Prix, but he is now going into the pits. Then to the pits goes De La Rosa, and through the pit lane they go. De La Rosa, Barrichello, and we presume Frentzen as well is going to dive into the pits for the Arrows. There goes De La Rosa, and yet the Arrows team are ready for Frentzen. Is De La Rosa going to be held up? Oh no, he isn't. The jacks go down. De La Rosa is away. Barrichello can't be released because De La Rosa is going down the pit lane. There is Barrichello, and that is quite the story. De La Rosa inherits the second place. He's jumped Ralf Schumacher. Barrichello's also very close to Ralf Schumacher. Ralf Schumacher is now down to third, and it's a Jaguar 1-2 at the moment. What an in-lap by the Jaguar of De La Rosa and the Ferrari of Barrichello. Barrichello inherits 4th place from Michael Schumacher, who has lost heaps of time to Coulthard. He's now behind Diniz. Diniz is quite close to Barrichello as well. There's Michael Schumacher, who's lost loads of time. Frentzen is still in 6th place. He's now 3 seconds in front. The overcut has worked wonders. Overcut looks to be the way forward in this race, especially with what happened with De La Rosa and Barrichello, and the fact that Frentzen has gained heaps of time as well. So that is quite the story that has developed in this race, as Raikkonen makes a diving move on Panis. I'm not sure if Raikkonen was already in front of Panis. I don't think he was. And there is David Coulthard, 14th place, with Webber in 15th. Coulthard has already pitted. Webber has yet to pit for the Sauber team. And we're currently on lap 9 of 22. Webber's not going to go. He nearly went round the outside. There is no one overtaking place, but he's got a very, very good exit. But Coulthard shuts the door, and Webber goes in towards the inside. Is he going to try and outbrake him? He does, and that's quite the overtake. Fantastic switchback move there around that corner, and Webber takes 14th place from Coulthard. There is a lazy 16th place in the Renault. He starts lap 10, truly quite the distance behind a lazy, but he's certainly in front of Sato and Young, who are 26 seconds behind Trulli. Young 13 seconds behind Sato. There is Young. Marladi looks to be a backmarker team at the moment. Bertie pulling away from his teammate. He's already a second ahead of De La Rosa. But De La Rosa's second place is currently the buffer between Bertie and what surely will be a fast charging Schumacher. And there is a lazy going around them 2 corners, but he looks to be stuck in gear. The problem with a lazy, he's stuck in gear. It looks like he might be stuck in 3rd gear. He's getting very poor acceleration around that corner. Up the hill he goes, and round this corner he's got poor acceleration down this corner. He's going to be very slow down the straight as well in gear 3. You're right around this corner and the next corner, because these are gear 3 corners. This gear corner is not a gear 3 corner. He's got a very poor exit, very slow acceleration, and he hits the rev limiter now. But Trulli is not going to hit the rev limiter, of course. No, they're going to obviously change position, but Alazy is probably going to pit before Trulli gets to him. So that means Alazy becomes the second retirement of this race.
Riding with Trulli.
Both retirements looks to have been gearbox related. And there goes Trulli past the start finish line. There's De La Rosa's second place. He's still a second ahead of Ralf Schumacher, who is also a second ahead of Barrichello. Now I don't remember what the gaps were between De La Rosa, Schumacher and Barrichello, so I don't know what the gaps have to be for Ralf Schumacher to be in front of Barrichello still. But as they go round the tricky turn 14, Barrichello is holding his own. He's a second behind Ralf Schumacher, lapping I reckon around half a tenth. Half a tenth loss a lap. And round the hairpin goes Barrichello. There is a Michael Schumacher who has lost out big time. Went from 3rd place to 5th place. There's Frentzen still in 6th place for the Arrows. He's going down the pit straight. There's Sarlo trying to make up for lost time after being in 10th place. Here was a huge winner in them round the pit stops. He managed to drop his teammate Alonso, Button, and there's Panis. He's also jumped. He went from 10th to 7th. We're board with Kimi Räikkönen in 10th place, currently holding on to the last point. There's Mark Webber going into the pits for his first stop and only stop for the Sauber team. Change of all to full tyres, and away goes Webber. 7.4 second stop. Now a big loser it looks like is Panis, because Fisichella was also in front that we saw on the telemetry. There's Webber in front of Trulli, but well behind Coulthard, who's already being dropped by Diniz in 13th place. There's Panis in 12th place. He's lost out hugely to Fisichella. There's Fisichella in 11th. He has Räikkönen and Button for company in front. He could see them, but he's not close enough to challenge. There's Button in 9th for the Jordan team. In the 8th place is Alonso. Both Toyotas trying to catch the Arrows of Frentzen, currently in 6th place. And there is Sarlo in 7th place for the Toyota. As we have a classification, Bertie, De La Rosa, Ralf Schumacher, the top 3. Barrichello in 4th with Michael Schumacher in 5th place. And then the 6th car is this group of Frentzen, Sarlo and Alonso, all covered by 2 seconds. And there's quite a little bit of a gap to 9th place. Currently operated by Button with Räikkönen directly behind the Brit. Giancarlo Fisichella comes into 11th place with Panis in 12th place in the BAR. And then there's quite a huge gap between his BAR teammate with Diniz in 13th place. Coulthard is in 14th place at the moment, 38 seconds behind the leader. There's going to be huge gap to Webber. It was 12 seconds last time we looked with the gap between Coulthard and Webber. 14th and 15th place. And it is now 14 seconds, Webber 15th, Trulli's in 16th place. And then we're probably not going to see the two Minardis come up on screen. No, we do not. There is Barrichello, 2.5 seconds behind the group of cars in front. That might be enough to gain the pit stop. Who knows? There's Ralf Schumacher in 3rd place. He's close to De La Rosa, but not nowhere near close enough to even remotely challenge for position. 6/10 currently is the gap. Maybe Ralf Schumacher has to think of something different to try and overtake De La Rosa. You're obviously on different pit stop strategies. The 2 cars. Round the hairpin goes Ralf Schumacher. And down the pit straight to start the 14th lap of 22. And towards the first corner, Ralf Schumacher. There's De La Rosa directly in front. Round turn 2, De La Rosa 2nd place for the Jaguar. In 1st place is still the Jaguar of Luciano Berti, with 11th placed man Kimi Räikkönen making his one and only stop. Out goes the Jack, 7.8 second pit stop for the Sauber team. It's a very good pit stop for the Sauber team. That should help Räikkönen easily get in a nice gap between Coulthard and Webber. There's a 10-second gap to Webber and a 3-second gap to Coulthard, as these lot have trouble trying to overtake Young. But Sarlo looks to have taken care of Young, and so has Alonso. Losing minimal time, you would say, to Frentzen. Maybe the odd 10th here and there, but there's not enough time for Frentzen to pull away. There's Michael Schumacher. He's still being dropped by Barrichello. 2/10 is the gap between Barrichello and Michael Schumacher. They go down the back straight, long back straight this, and towards the pit lane. Looks like we have our second round of pit stops. Bertie goes into the pits, Ralf Schumacher also goes in, and Barrichello, the previous top three, sorry not Barrichello, Ralf Schumacher, the previous top three all going into the pits. These lot need very good pit stops now, otherwise they're going to lose out to De La Rosa and probably Rubens and Barrichello. In the pit box they go. Change of all 4 tyres, change of fuel. Bertie is off, and there goes Ralf Schumacher. That's not a very good pit stop from the Arrows, to 8.5 seconds. Bertie clear, no, he clear Young? I think he clears Young. Oh, Ralf Schumacher just about clears Fisichella. That's very close to the Italian with Ralf Schumacher. Ralf Schumacher comes out in 6th place in the Arrows. There's Fisichella in 7th place in the Renault. And there is Michael Schumacher, 8th place. Dinner's 9th place in the BAR. And 10th place is currently Alonso, who has just come out of the pits. He's now behind Dinner's. Gives a good indication to where Frentzen might come out. There's Salo and Frentzen. Line astern in 3rd and 4th now are the Arrows and the Toyota. And they're going to probably come into the pits in the end of this lap. Round the left, right chicane. Round the long right-hander, double apexed, pretty much. And down the back straights. Are these lots going to pit on this lap? Looks like Salo isn't going to pit. Frentzen looks like he's taking a line to... No, he isn't. Frentzen stays out for one more lap, and so does Salo. Is there anyone out? Is there anyone in the pits? It looks like Sato is in the pits, but he's unimportant. But no one has pitted on that lap, or continuing for one more lap, which is not going to help Ralf Schumacher or Bertie or Michael Schumacher. All these could get jumped by, they're certainly probably going to get jumped by De La Rosa, maybe Barrichello. But Salo looks down the inside of Frentzen, but Frentzen shuts the door before the Toyota could try and even remotely get close to passing. Left to right chicane time. Got 8 laps to go. Got 6 laps to go, sorry, and Salo runs a little bit wide, but not wide enough to lose any time. Salo shows his nose to Frentzen, and there is Barrichello, 2nd place. He needs a very good outlap, does Barrichello. Currently got a 13-second gap to Frentzen. Probably a little bit, it's going to be a little more to Bertie, and there is De La Rosa. All these into the pits. This is the crucial part of the race. They've had 2 laps of overcut on Bertie and De La Rosa. Now, is this going to change the pecking order? Are these going to be the new top 2 of the race? Into the pits goes De La Rosa. Into the pits goes Barrichello. They should be far enough in the lead so Frentzen doesn't get affected. There's De La Rosa out of the pits. Is he going to be in front of Bertie? The answer is no. He isn't. But is Barrichello in front of Ralf Schumacher? The answer is no. He hasn't. But Barrichello has the outside line. But Ralf Schumacher has the inside for this corner. And slams the door on Barrichello. So that's not good news for Barrichello. The overcut has not worked out, and it's the same gaps pretty much. Barrichello has gained time on Ralf Schumacher, but it looks to me that not much has changed really. Ralf Schumacher goes around the outside of Sato, and now Barrichello is going to get held up a little bit by Sato round the right-hander. Ralf Schumacher now pulls away a second. But It looks to me that Barrichello's chance of getting the podium might be over. But Michael Schumacher also holds on to 5th place. He's far enough ahead of Frentzen. I think it was about 6 seconds. But it's still a Jaguar 1-2 as we go on board with Alonso. We've got Frentzen. Frenzen's been overtaken by Salo in the pits, and Alonso overtaken. Oh, Alonso has dropped it though on the first corner, trying to keep hold of it, Frentzen. And Alonso. Oh, oh, Alonso has just made a fool of himself. That's not how you do a 3-point turn. Oh dear. That's just, I've got no words really. Raikkonen's gone clean round the outside of Panis. Panis has just lost out to Raikkonen, and I've got no words for what Alonso's just done. That was just. Are we going to blame the wet grass on that? I don't know, or we're just going to blame the stupidity of what he just done. But now Alonso has to go into the pits to change his front wing. That was just incredible. But anyway, Bertie leads with De La Rosa in 2nd place. Ralf Schumacher keeps hold of 3rd place. He's 3.8 seconds behind the leader. Barrichello in 4th place with Michael Schumacher, his Ferrari teammate. 5th place, as we've still got Diniz and Alonso fighting. Salo is now in 6th place after jumping Frentzen in them pit stops. Frentzen drops down to 7th place. Button is currently in 8th place. Fisichella inherits 9th place because of Alonso's, quite frankly, stupidity. And it will be, I don't know who will be in 10th place. I think it might be Raikkonen in 10th place, in fact. Nope. Oh, Panis is in 10th place. Panis has re-overtaken Raikkonen somewhere around the track. And it's Panis, Raikkonen, Webber and Diniz. With Coulthard in 14th and the stupid Alonso.
Fernando Alonso is going into the pits.
I don't know. I just don't know. It's change of all 4 tyres, and away he goes. 9.1 second pit stop. Quite a fast range of front wing, may I say. But obviously it's race wrecked for Alonso in the Toyota. Looking good for 8th place, but he's going to get into nothing now. As we go on board with the race leader, Luciano Berti. He's been in the lead of the race pretty much the entire race, apart from the 3 laps De La Rosa is led, who is currently in 2nd place. Ralf Schumacher in 3rd place for the Arrows. Still going to be a good race for the Arrows team. Obviously it's going to be an even better race for the Jaguar team. It looks like the constructors' points might be cut. So I believe that Frentzen, Arrows was definitely leading. I believe that the Jaguar team were in 2nd place, or it was at least Toyota in 2nd place. If it's Toyota in 2nd place, then they're going to lose out on points, and the points gap might increase. The Button in 8th place in the Jaguar. And he's going round the left-right chicane. And in 9th place is the Renault. I'm trying to get the standings up, and right, so we have. It looks like that Ralf Schumacher and Frentzen might actually be on the same amount of points. But he's going to close the gap in the championship. He's going to be 1 point behind Ralf Schumacher, that's for sure, if things stay as they are. It is Jaguar that's in 2nd place. They're on 66 points. So the gap is definitely going to widen between between them 2 teams. We're on board with Diniz on 13th place for the BAR. and 14th place in the McLaren is David Coulthard. So the current gap is 16 points between Arrows and Jaguar. That's obviously going to tighten because Jaguar are currently 1-2 at the moment, and Arrows are going to only pick up 12 points, so the gap is going to close by 7. Toyota are going to lose ground, so it might end up starting to become a 2-horse race between Arrows and Jaguar, with Toyota going to be languishing because they're only going to score 5 points at the moment, so they're going to only go up to 68 points. Jaguar are going to go up to at least 85, so they're already going to be about 18 points behind now. Even Ferrari is definitely going to close up to Toyota. It might look like it's going to be a fight between first and second, and then a fight between third and fourth, and then a fight between the rest, between Sauber, Jordan, BAR, McLaren. Well, not really. It's going to be Renault, Sauber, Jordan all fighting for each other, and then BAR, McLaren and Minardi trying to not pick up the wooden spoon. That's a quick rundown of the standings. So I don't usually run down the standings between the races because I don't know what the standings are, because I don't know what the race result is. That's the quick rundown of what the last race result was, and it looks like it's going to be certainly going to be the race order that it currently is now, with the 2 Jaguars leading, Ralf Schumacher in 3rd place, who still cannot win from pole position, the Arrows, still currently in 3rd place. Is going to again lose out on getting a pole to flag victory. So the Arrows, after 8 races, I think they've had 4 or 5 pole positions and they've converted none of them to a race of victory. But there's no need to panic just yet for the Arrows team. There's still 8 races to go, or 7. I think it's a 15 race season, so there's 7 races left to go. 7 races for the Arrows team to win. They're on board with De La Rosa, the defending champion. Looks like they might not be the defending champion for much longer unless he finds a way to get better. Well, not so much get better, just get a better result. The top 4 all going down the same straight. The 2 Jaguars, Arrows and Ferrari all about to start their final lap of the Malaysian Grand Prix here in the Sepang International Circuit. We only had 2 retirements, as we have Raikkonen and Diniz fighting for position. That's going to be a very, very audacious move, and Diniz has managed to take him around outside of what looked to be turn... I don't even know what turn that was. I think that was turn 12, I think it was. It was a very good overtake from Diniz. Raikkonen is now down to 13th, losing loads of time at the moment to the 2 stoppers. Now David Coulthard looks to try and overtake his former teammate in Raikkonen, but Raikkonen keeps hold of 13th place as all these start their final lap now. Down towards the first turn, Raikkonen pulls out for Diniz, or for trying to close the gap to Coulthard. And down the back straight goes Bertie. Round the final corner goes Bertie in a Jaguar. He's going to take home, I think, his 2nd or 3rd victory. I cannot remember. But either way, a victory is a victory. And Bertie wins the Malaysian Grand Prix. And De La Rosa makes it a second 1-2 for the Jaguar team, with Ralf Schumacher rounding off the podium. Another consistent drive from the German. He might actually take the lead of the championship, I think, from countback. Both him and Frentzen are going to be on the same amount of points. There is Frentzen about to come home, 7th place Button 8th place for the Jordan. 9th place being Fisichella in the Renault. And taking home the final point will be Olivier Panis in the BAR, which will help them in the Constructors' Championship. Weber looks to be coming home in 11th place for a solitary point. No, not a solitary point. One of the first, and Coulthard overtakes Raikkonen on the final corner, it looked like, for 13th place. Diniz still pointless, of course. Raikkonen 14th. He just lost it all in the final couple of laps. Dropped down from 10th place down to 14th. Not sure what happened to him. And there is your race winner, Luciano Berti, the Brazilian in the Jaguar, taking home a 3rd victory for the Jaguar team, I think. I mean, I think Toyota have won 3 or 4 races. Jordan's won 1 race. So this might be Jaguar's 3rd victory, because I think Berti and De La Rosa both had a victory each. But we go over to the classified results now. Luciano Berti takes the win for the Jaguar team. A 1-2 finish for the Jaguar team. 2.4 seconds was the final gap. Ralf Schumacher still cannot win from pole position. He finishes in 3rd place after being jumped in the first round of pit stops by De La Rosa. And he was 4 seconds behind the top 2. We'll talk about the rest of the drivers as we see their lap times. There's Berti. He pretty much controlled the whole race, apart from the De La Rosa potentially winning. Leading 3 laps was De La Rosa. He managed to get into 2nd place. Ralf Schumacher, 2nd place throughout the first stint, and then 3rd place. Might have been jumped by this man, Rubens Barrichello, but he wasn't. Michael Schumacher, biggest faller really, 3rd place he was. Jumped by 2 play points in 5th place. Salo, what a great gain. He was in 10th place in the early stages. He managed to come in 6th place. Fredson, 7th place was pretty much the best he can do. And that was Button. He mysteriously lost 3 positions from 5th to 8th. Fisichella, great drive to get a point. And Panis, maybe slightly fortunate to get a point as well. Mark Webber started 20th, finished in 11th. Very unlucky to not score. There's Diniz, still pointless. David Coulthard finished the first lap in 13th and finished the last lap in 13th. Kimi Raikkonen was pretty much a loser in the final rounds. Alonso, I no words. No words. Trulli well behind his teammates. And then we have the 2 Minardis. Both of them lapped. And that near enough sums it up. A lazy gearbox failure, and Hakkinen has a gearbox failure as well. Now we go on board with Button. Is this what happened to Button? Is he going to be pitched? Oh, he's got pitched into the spin by Barrichello, and that's how he lost the positions. And yep, that will be the end of the Malaysian Grand Prix. Thank you for watching, and I shall see you next time.